Thank you once again for joining the Embred podcast. We are excited to talk about a topic that is so interesting for men, women, young, old, children, and anyone. It is about cybersecurity. And to make sure that we give you the best of that conversation, we've invited a cybersecurity advisor that will not only share his experience regarding how he ended up in cybersecurity, starting from a question where he was very interested in finding out more about how internet access can lead to so many possibilities. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gael Beauboeuf, the cybersecurity advisor, CEO of Passivra, a company specifying in providing technology audit, and more importantly, the founder of Kozetek, a platform that provides many Asian people access to technology. Gael is also a role model for purpose-driven leadership, because he is grounded in integrity, intention, and service, body purpose-driven leadership, using his influence to inspire others to lead with authenticity and create meaningful, people-centered changes. Please take a seat and enjoy this episode where we're going to make sure that you're safer when you're using technologies. Thank you. Thank you for your time today, Gael. We truly appreciate. We know you are someone who is extremely busy. It was hard to get you, by the way. So we're really proud to have you today. And on behalf of my team on the Embed podcast, we want to say thank you for your leadership in digital security and cybersecurity, building resilience within the community, especially teaching people how to use technologies. Now, before we kick off, Gael, how do you feel today?
I'm feeling very good. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to talk about technology as usual.
This is fantastic. In case some of our listeners do not know who you are, how would you introduce yourself?
Well, I am a computer engineer with about 10 years of experience. I studied computer science back in Haiti, and right now I'm working as a cybersecurity advisor in the US, and I also teach at a community college.
So community college, how is it?
It's very good. I really love it. This is one of the rare jobs that I had that I feel so fulfilled because I really enjoy sharing my knowledge. So I'm very excited whenever I teach someone about information technology in general, and having on a regular basis a set of young students in front of me where I can transfer my knowledge is amazing.
This is phenomenal. That's one thing I probably couldn't do because I'm not that patient, Gail. Now, I know we talk a lot about tech, especially on this podcast, but I would like to provide some people with more insight into your work specifically. Because when you say cybersecurity, what does it entail? Let's put it in simple words for a citizen lambda.
So mostly I work in governance, risk, and compliance. Basically, my entire job is to make sure that we decrease the probability of a specific organization to have a cyber attack. There is 4 main ways of managing risk. You can avoid the risk, accept the risk, transfer the risk, or mitigate the risk. So my job as a cybersecurity advisor is to ensure that advise the organization on what type of security control or mechanism they can put in place to mitigate the cybersecurity risk or the probability of a bad person getting into their system and doing something wrong.
Okay. When you say cybersecurity, Gail, from what I'm hearing, is it some people could be doing data mining and steal that information and sometimes ask for a
Ransom?
return?
Yes. So
Okay.
if you have a data breach, for example, and somehow someone was able to connect to your local area network, the ransomware attack is when they will encrypt all your data, all your entire information system, and they will ask you for a ransom in exchange for the key to decrypt your data. But
Okay.
obviously, it's never recommended to pay the money because you never know if they're gonna keep their word. And on top of that, sometimes you can pay and then they still release all
Mm-hmm.
your personal data on the dark web. So you better have
Mm.
a good backup system in place so you don't have to pay the ransom. But the ransomware attack right now is very popular.
Mm-hmm. This is interesting. And now, I would be curious to know, why would you choose something like that?
So back in high school, I went to Petit Séminaire Collège Saint-Martial, and my last year is the year where internet was coming up with dial-up, and
Mm-hmm.
I was very intrigued and passionate about the fact that someone with just an internet connection can do
Mm-hmm.
that much. It's like for me a world of opportunities, of possibilities open to me. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, this is so interesting. I have to study that science. And that's how my passion for computer science started, because I wanted to understand how a computer works and learn everything that you could do with it. I used to night Googling and going to the internet, finding stuff. So that's why I went to École supérieure photonique d'Haïti and I studied computer science. Since then, it's been a passion of mine. And I feel very
Mm.
blessed because in Haiti, it's very rare that someone studies something that they really they actually like. Usually
Mm-hmm.
they tell you you need to be either a lawyer, physician, a civil engineering, because this is where you can they say you can be successful. But I studied something that I actually like.
Interesting. And I like how your story is all about your curiosity, finding out how someone could potentially have access to information, because obviously internet gives access to
Yeah,
so much information
indeed.
probably, and it increases the likelihood of having cyber attack, like you say. So I can
Exactly.
understand where that's coming from, but I'm trying to put it in the Haitian landscape. How did you manage to connect the dot between that specific field, which is also your passion, and Haiti needs from cybersecurity?
After I got my degree in computer science, and I
Hmm.
started working in different organizations in Haiti. And 7 years later, I came across an ad on the newspaper called Le Nouvelliste about
Hmm.
information system audit. I was very shocked because I've been in the field for almost 10 years, and at this time, I never knew there was something called information system audit. But I've always heard of accounting audit, financial audit. And I was very curious. So I subscribed to the seminar and I discovered a whole new world. And it was all about IT audit and how to mitigate risk. And I was very interested in learning more. So I decided to go all in. I spent months studying for a certification called CISA, which stands for Certified Information System Auditor. And this certification was literally my ticket to get into cybersecurity. Because if someone doesn't know, cybersecurity is huge. There's many fields inside of cybersecurity. So I especially work in the governance, risk, and compliance sector. As an IT auditor, I was able to get my certified information system auditor and then move to the US and find my first job in IT auditing.
Wow, this is fantastic, Gael. And I think you already suspect where I'm coming from
Hmm.
with all these questions, because I'm trying to understand from a listener's perspective. This is a very rare field, although I understand
Yes.
now we have AI and more people could be interested in finding out more about cybersecurity. I'd like to say some companies
Hmm.
have a much bigger understanding of cybersecurity. Now, I also want to understand from your perspective, how did all of that experience and knowledge lead you to create Kozetek?
Um, I created Kozetek mainly because going to school in Haiti is not a given. I always felt privileged. I was able to go to school in Haiti, to private university in Haiti. And when I graduated, I realized there was such a huge gap. I started to go to places like Bunge and radio show, and started to teach about everything I knew. And when I moved to the US, I decided to scale up this initiative by creating an entire YouTube channel. In my mind, my goal was to, hey, maybe if I share my knowledge like I was doing on a weekly basis, I was teaching a different topic about IT, someone in Gonaive and Le Cap will listen to the topic and will be able to build something from it. So my goal was to teach science, technology in our native language because there was already so many content in English available on the internet. So I decided to create content in Haitian Creole so I could empower those that did not have the chance to go to school to learn something and from there maybe create wealth from them for themselves.
This is very inspiring. And what truly amazes me about specific Haitian leaders that I've met so far is how you've not only pursued your passion, but you always give back to the community. And that's really important. That's why we also created Embrace, because we want to make sure that people understand it's not only about empowering yourself, it's also about empowering other people. From your story, you've gained the knowledge to identify a gap and you say, okay, this is my contribution to filling that gap, which is Kozetek, by making tech knowledge accessible across different locations in Haiti. Now, I know tech can be very English oriented, and you mentioned it in your response so far, Gael. How do you approach making complex topic accessible for learners from diverse communities then?
First of all, I like to simplify things with a trivial example. In fact, I think I have a gift for teaching because since I was in high school, people often told me that I explain things very well. So I can break a complex topic into smaller building block. For example, instead of jumping straight into network pen testing, I will start with how data actually move across a network. What is a network? And then once the foundation is clear, I will advance to more complicated concept because they are less intimidating. So another thing is also I love to use a drawing board like an iPad so I can make sure that while I'm explaining, I can draw and the student can visualize what I'm saying. Not only I can draw and explain with a board, but also I will do when it's needed live demonstration so the student can see and understand what is the actual meaning of what I'm
Yeah.
saying and the impact.
Wow. We've just had a conversation with a psychologist, and we were thinking about how to make knowledge more inclusive. And one of the key things that we've mentioned was about different type of intelligence. So the way you approach things actually cover many of those intelligence types because you don't specifically focus on one way of transferring that information to people. You use multiple approaches like you said you can draw or you can start explaining like a network because different people have different way of absorbing information. I am not a certified coach, but I can say you do have a gift for teaching because if you could use all these methods to make sure that the information is as clear and as specific to the people. I know you've mentioned a lot about communities and how, tech education as community building. So we're going to move on to the belonging part in terms of how accessible tech learning creates community and belong, especially in underrepresented spaces like Haiti. From your experience, what do you see as the greatest blockers to tech participation today?
Well, obviously, in underdeveloped country, it's going to be access, access to human resources that can train people and access to material as well. So many talented people, they simply don't have access sometimes to reliable internet, to modern equipment, structured training or mentorship. Without these foundational resources, getting into tech can almost feel impossible. I remember when I was studying computer science, getting my first laptop was a big deal for me because I couldn't do the lab, I couldn't practice. This is a very huge barrier, the access to material and internet access. Second thing is exposure. There's a lot of people that don't even know what career in tech truly look like. They may hear something like cybersecurity or cloud, but they don't see a clear roadmap or relatable role model who can show them that it is achievable. For example, I never knew in IT there was a job title called IT auditor, but someone came to Haiti and did a training about IT audit, and that's how I knew about it. We need more things happening like this, and that's the whole reason I created Kozetek, to fill that gap in terms of training. When I started creating my YouTube nuggets every week, people that love the small videos of 2 to 3 minutes, they were now asking me, I need a structured content. I need a whole entire training.
Yeah.
And that's how I was able to create the second training available on Udemy from a Haitian and Haitian
Wow.
Creole. So you can go to udemy.com and purchase my entire class on cybersecurity. Internet and access to coaching, mentorship, and training. This is the two barrier I think that we have for tech participation. And this is exactly the gap that I'm trying to fill by making myself available.
Yeah.
I have an entire group where people can ask questions, and I will advise them on how to get in tech and how to get to the path that match their aspiration.
Wow. What I like about your answers, you not only provide the gaps, but you also provide the
Solution.
resources, which is interesting, especially the bit around the knowledge share. That's really interesting. And I can relate because back when I was studying in Haiti, when you have a laptop, it does sound like you're a very privileged
Mm.
person, given how education is progressing lately across the globe. That should be one of the basic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Things that you could have access to when you are a
Student,
student.
yeah.
I do understand why these three things that you've mentioned in terms of access to the resources, the exposure, and also understanding what the tech career would entail.
Mm-hmm.
Those could be like the key blockers or barriers that people would face in developing countries. I know that we're talking about STEM, and what they've noticed globally is we have less women as compared to men. Now, from your perspective, how would you encourage women to join cybersecurity?
I would say any woman or man is just to follow your passion. I remember this specific guy, he used to text me a lot privately. He was able to gain confidence and create opportunity for himself because he was inspired by my videos. But my videos was the trigger that pushed him, but he already had the passion, the drive to learn. So if you are a woman and you want to get into STEM or especially IT or cybersecurity, I want you to know that you are no different than any other man. You have the exact same brain. You have the exact same capacity. The only thing that will be a difference between you and someone else is how much do you really want it? What is the level of passion that you have? How much it is burning inside of you that you really want to get in tech?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
once you have enough passion and you are dedicated enough, you will find the resources. You will find a way to get into tech. This is exactly what happened with my friend. He always thanked me because of so many resources I'm putting for free on the internet, he was able to follow
Yeah.
his dream and now he's a software developer. He is a software engineer.
Wow. That's what I like about teachers. This is my personal opinion. I think the most noble job that exists
Sure.
is teacher
True.
because you transfer so much of your knowledge to people, and you've created so many talented people who have changed the world. Kudos, Gael. That's I know it's a hard job because my mom used to be a teacher.
Yeah.
That's probably why I'm like, I don't want to be a teacher.
It is a hard job.
I have people from my network who are teachers, and I deeply admire these people because I think without teachers, we wouldn't have
Mm-hmm.
a word with innovators, scientists,
True.
and all these people who exist really. Talking about women, I know most of the people who exist in the world, they're likely from a woman, right? And both parents are responsible for taking care of their children. But once that responsibility is passed down to a teacher, that's where things start to actually making more sense. The story that you've shared about this person having the drive to do something and reaching out to you, the way you guided that person, and now they are working as a software engineer, did you say? This is a big accomplishment. I don't know if you've ever taken some time to celebrate how many people you've impacted in your life so far.
This is actually the fuel that I have every time I want to give up and there is no reward, financial reward about what I'm doing, and I always want to focus on something else. These type of messages from Facebook, WhatsApp, these are the one that keep me going because I remember I have a podcast as well. This guy all the way in Limby in some city in Cap Haitian who texted me and was like, "Hey, I listened to your podcast and now I know about so and so and so that I can do this and this
Yeah.
and this all the way to Cape Haitian, right? And I'm here all the way in a different country. Someone is listening to me and now they have a new type of knowledge that they will be able to use to accomplish something. And this is exactly what I love about teaching and sharing knowledge, to empower people about a specific set of skills and that they will be able to use and create wealth for their family and themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a teacher, but I can imagine anytime that you see someone gain confidence because they've been in touch with you or because of the knowledge that you share, it can be like a very proud moment for you. And like you say, that fuel that you need to keep going and keep creating more software engineers and giving people more opportunities. Now, we're going to move on into cybersecurity, trust, and resilience in digital systems and community development. I think we touched on cybersecurity as a word, but the word itself can sound intimidating.
Yeah.
How do you make concept like security by design feel relevant and empowering?
So, security by design is a very important concept, by the way. It means that everything you do in the enterprise, cybersecurity needs to be from the get-go. Back in the day, usually the research and development team and the marketing team, the sales team, they will meet up and create the product. The software engineer will start coding and create the source code. Then after the product or the final item is released, then they will say, "Hey, cybersecurity guys, come and check." Now, the security by design principle means from the business requirement, from the project charter, from the initial meeting, cybersecurity teams need to be there so they can build and be part of the process from the get-go. So now that I just explained what is security by design, you can see how I can make it feel relevant to people. What I do every time I explain a specific cybersecurity concept, I first explain the why behind this. Why do we have to do that? Why is identity and access management important? Why is performing a backup? Before I even explain what a backup is and how to do it, I would explain you why is a backup important. For example, we'll say stuff like, have you ever lost your phone or your laptop and on this specific device, there was a very important picture or report, and you didn't back it up yet, which means you've lost this picture or report forever. And then
Yeah.
from this question now, I will trigger the person mind understanding
Yeah.
doing backup is important.
Yeah.
And testing the backup as well, making sure the backup is done properly is important. Then, okay, this is why you need a
Yeah.
disaster recovery plan and a business continuity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I explain cybersecurity concept, even if they sound intimidating, by explaining the why behind it, and it will feel very easy.
Who are the most likely to be targeted by cybersecurity threat, Gael?
It's equal. I can't even say more older people are targeted because they are not very knowledgeable about cybersecurity and the measure that they need to take. But in terms of ratio women men, they will target and try to scam anyone.
Yeah, they did with me, so.
But the most vulnerable people, I would say, are young and older people because they may not be very well aware of what's going on out there. Let's say you have a kid of 11, 12 years old, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
will have heard a story about roadblocks where they will chat with them and try to kidnap them, for example.
Wow.
Yeah. So young people, old people, teenagers, adult like me, we are all targets.
Okay, that's interesting. And that actually leads me to another question, because your episode is such an interesting episode because it's being recorded in February, which is the month of love, I would say, for many people. And it will be released in March. I want to focus on women, given there's a lot of digital platforms available, make it more convenient for people to meet now. What advice would you give to a woman worried about vulnerability or risk in their digital life?
So the first thing I will say is not panic. The thing is to be proactive right now. That's why organization, they do something called information security awareness training. This is an activity they do on a quarterly basis, even monthly sometimes, where they will keep repeating the exact same thing to the employees and showing them about what you need to do, what you need to be careful about, what you should do, what you should not do.
Yeah.
Digital risk is real, but it's manageable when you take small steps.
Yeah.
For example, first, the fundamentals. You need to use strong and unique password for every account and store them if you can't remember them in a password manager.
Yeah.
Don't store them under your keyboard or on a piece of paper or write it down
Yeah.
on your phone, right? It's very important to have a strong password like capital letters, etc. Second, enable MFA. MFA stands for multi-factor authentication. Whenever it's possible, when you get this second text or the code, even if someone were able to hack your username and password, they still won't be able to get into your system because you enabled MFA. Then be mindful of what you share because some attack today, they are based on a cyber attack called social engineering. This is the worst attack ever. I always talk about it. It's the scariest attack possible because it plays with your mind. It's a psychological attack. It doesn't use any type of tools, cybersecurity tool. For example, if you overshare personal detail on social media, it can make you easier target for phishing or identity theft because they will gather some information and use it against you. Lastly, you update your device, your software, your laptop, your smartphone, because sometimes the update is not only fancy, it also patches some security vulnerabilities. It's very important to do that. And also, lock your devices. So risk will always exist because we live in this digital world, but you need to be always informed, educating yourself, and that's the best way to prevent any cyber attack. For example, some very close friend of mine, they were able to convince her to make a transfer from her account to another account, and this happened also with Zelle. So it's very crazy how in a few minutes a hacker can make $500. So the person sends $500 because she thought that she was talking to a friend. So the hacker impersonated someone else.
Wow. I gotta be careful with that podcast then.
So always confirm and always verify. If someone call you and say, "Hey, I'm from the bank. Hey, I'm so and so from the IT department." Okay, hang up and then call back the bank. Let's say it's your mom or I'm your sister. I'm all the way in Africa and I'm stuck. Can you please send me $200 because there is no way I can communicate with you, right?
Yeah.
Hang up the phone and call back. Because with AI and people creating fake videos, it's very easy now to trick someone.
Yeah. Thank you, Gael. I hope our listeners will apply those key insight that we've shared to make sure that they live a more cybersecurity friendly, I would say. I don't know if that's a term. On top of that, what I find useful as well, if someone can, I do watch a lot of documentaries about it just to have an idea about specific tactics that these scammers can use. Because sometimes some of them, they're like out of the blue, like you said, social engineering. They can
Yeah.
make you feel like it is legit. It is 100% true. Thanks to all the streaming platform making that sort of experience available to a wider audience, so we are aware of the possibility of being targeted by a specific hacker. I do appreciate the podcast is for men and women, and we are getting the insight from a man. I thought it would be good to have a focus on women because based on the documentaries I've been watching, there is quite a balance, like you say, Gael, about men or women being scammed, but it's likely
The scamming woman, yeah, more.
more than men. That's what I've seen from the documentaries so far. Now we're going to move on to the excellence bit, and we're gonna go back to the breed because I think you're exposed to so many types of information. I would be very interested in finding out more about how you balance your life. But before we move on to the breed part of Embrace, what does excellence look like in a field as dynamic as tech and cybersecurity?
It's very difficult because I always used to joke that a woman or a guy shouldn't be with someone that is in IT if there is no, is no commitment on time management because you really need to understand the person.
Yeah.
Let's say your spouse is a love language is quality time. If the other spouse is in IT, you need to be able to understand this person because this person will always be studying.
Okay.
You always have to keep up with the information, always be
Yeah.
updated because the
Yeah.
thing is, for example, AI right now is the new trend and you always need to understand what's going on, always be doing a new certification.
Yeah.
It's like um a marathon that will never end.
Okay.
If you are in IT in general, you will always be studying. That's how you can become the best of the best and always keep excellence by making sure you're not outdated. Otherwise, if you don't do that, the technology we're using today was not the one we were using 20 years ago. That's why
Yeah.
it's very important to make sure you don't get outdated, otherwise you'll be out of a job very quick.
That's really interesting. And you've also mentioned something about AI, but in my mind I was thinking that the evolution of AI would make it a lot easier for people in IT and tech,
Yes,
right?
that's the
So
case.
that okay. So that constant need to learn could be a lot streamlined with AI. Am I
Absolutely.
correct? Yeah.
Tasks that people in IT used to take 3 to 5 days, they're doing it now in a few hours. If you don't know how to use AI won't necessarily replace you. Someone using AI will replace you.
That's interesting. Can you elaborate more on that? I like that.
So the AI, you need to
Hmm.
consider it as an additional tool for more
Mm-hmm.
productivity, more efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not AI that will necessarily replace you. Someone
Mm-hmm.
using AI could easily replace you if this person decided to master the AI tool. They can understand how to interact with it properly.
Mm-hmm.
Having this tool in your tool belt will now making sure that you can be more efficient, produce that report faster, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay. That's interesting. And thank you for that. The reason I ask you to elaborate more is because I know quite a lot of people are a bit concerned about the future of their jobs with the expansion of AI. And I like how you say it's not AI that's going to replace you, because essentially it's a machine, isn't it?
let's say, for example, I know a company that is
Mm.
tearing down his entire
Yeah.
plant. They are creating a whole new plant manufacturing industry, and destroying their current one with and implementing brand new robot, right? Now, these robots are going to be replacing many employees, but guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what? Someone will need to manage these robots, right? They need to be
Yeah.
updated. Yes, they don't have to be tired. They will work faster and more efficiently, but they have
Yeah.
firmware to be updated. They have maintenance to be done on them. So now you need to upskills yourself or update yourself on how to manage this robot.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
may, you
I
may
agree.
still have a job if you ensure that this new technology, you master it. But the technology
Yeah.
will replace, that's true. If you had any doubt of that, about that, don't anymore. AI will wipe out a lot of job title. There is thousands of job, even 5 to 10 years from now, that will no longer
Yeah,
exist.
that's quite concerning, given that the machine itself, as compared to a human, AI, let's call it like that, they don't have some needs, right? And
Hmm.
probably that's what makes them
More efficient.
relatively more efficient
Hmm.
than human. I would be curious to know, from your perspective, I'm conscious this is something that's still being explored globally, right? From your perspective, how should one be prepared to face that? I'm conscious you've mentioned learning
Yeah.
about AI more, understand what AI cannot do, because clearly it can't do everything. There will be some gaps. But from a human perspective, how do we still remain connected to our nature as human species in a world that is potentially led by AI or by robots?
It's a very huge question, is even a philosophic question. I think we need to get ourselves ready for a world not led by AI, but we need to get ready to cohabit with AI. We will be living in a world where we may be on the road walking by, passing by someone, and it will be either a robot or a bionic. A bionic is a human being that is part human, part robot. Let's say this person
Yeah.
is missing a leg, and then they will replace the leg with a robotic arm, because this
Yeah.
robotic arm can do now what his missing leg was doing. So we will be living and cohabiting with machine and bionic people. You can see right now, people, they have robot in their house that can clean these little robot that are on the floor. But moving
Yeah.
forward, we may have a humanoid instead of a real robot, but you'll have a human being as a robot, and it will be cheaper and cheaper, to the point that every single person, just like a PC right now, will be able to afford one in their house.
Okay.
So we'll be cohabiting with AI. Now, I know there is a lot of stories and movies about AI taking over the world, but at this point, this is not something I think I can discuss, because I don't know what's going
Yeah,
on.
I agree. I like the word cohabitate. Would a phone be classified as, an artificial intelligence?
No, your phone has the hardware that has a specific operating system in it. It could be iOS from Apple, or it could be Android from Google. Your phone can have an AI tool installed in it,
Okay. Yeah.
but the phone itself
Okay.
is mostly a specific tool that can take decision and react by himself, you know?
Okay. Yeah, yeah. The reason I ask is because I'll be like, okay, perhaps we've already been trained about cohabitating with AI because we have a phone. That's where I was going to. At least I'll be
Well,
like,
what you say is not really innocent. It's because a company tried to create an AI phone, but it did
Okay.
fail. It's called the human pin. They did try to create a phone with no screen, no operating system, but the system on it was an AI system. They did try to create a phone like that.
Thank God it failed. Hopefully that I think they're probably exploring
Other
learning
avenue.
more about
Yeah,
yeah, but I'm pretty sure at some point in time perhaps
yeah,
I
going
won't
back
be
to it.
around,
Yeah.
but yeah, they're going back to it. But I really hope it's not during my time because the phone is already taking up so much of my time. Imagine you have an AI. Now, I think it's a very interesting topics that we are currently discussing, Gael, and that will be about the well-being part. In a world where there's a lot of noise about AI, technology causes quite a lot of noise, to be fair. Now, even our appliances can
Hmm.
be
Connected to the
can be
internet.
connected to the internet, which I still questions that innovation, especially from a fridge perspective. I don't know why I would need that, but
So at some
I
point,
can understand for the TV.
the fridge will let you know when your milk is almost done, and it will be connected to the cloud and can order a new set of milk for you. And then you'll have something like an Amazon drone, for example, that will receive the comment. And without you doing nothing, like while you're on your bed sleeping, your fridge will know you're almost out of milk, and it will place the comment to Amazon order. A drone will come and
Yeah.
drop your milk in front of your house.
But cybersecurity, like what
Data privacy.
complicated and yeah, what
Data
about
privacy.
data
Yeah,
privacy?
that's a huge concern, and that's what everyone is talking about right now, because everything is connected. Your Alexa speaker, even your toaster, your fridge. Now everybody is concerned about data privacy. But you live in Europe, and you know about the GDPR, the general
Yeah.
rules about data protection, and that's why everybody now is trying to make each state are trying to make their own data privacy law, because this is going too far, and they are harvesting and gathering so many personal information about ourselves. It's getting out of hand.
But for someone like you, how do you breathe in the middle of all these things? Because you did say, uh, from your field, like you learn constantly, and that there is a lot of innovation happening around you. You
Mhm.
need to be constantly up to date. So how do you get back to yourself? How do you take a break, Gael?
People used to say they don't know how much I'm able to do. How am I able to do that much? It's like I'm living 24 hours.
You're not AI, no? You're not a humanoid, are you?
But I do make sure I relax. I
Yeah.
love to go to the movie theater,
Mm.
go for a swim in a pool, and I spend time with my kids. I like to
Mm.
disconnect sometimes. But the thing is, even when I go and watch to a movie, it's most likely going to be a sci-fi movie. So it's a circle.
It's just disconnected from there to be connected here. I get it.
So yeah, I can say IT is not for everyone, but I just love it. I love it.
Wow. And it's interesting that you mentioned this around how you disconnect. I think what I've noticed now, even when you try to disconnect, it always goes back to technologies most of the time. Things as simple as going for a walk now is getting a bit more monitored with your watch.
Mhm.
That it's and for me, I think that's the bit I am really looking forward to finding out more about how we're going to balance people well-being and the expansion of technology.
Well, I think we can have another podcast about that, but there's a huge trend now um, about digital minimalism, where people are literally going back to dumb phone. I don't know if you remember back when we were kids, these Nokia phone that can only
Yeah,
make
yeah.
call and SMS. It's becoming so intrusive right now. People are trying for a week, for a month, going to some place with just a dumb phone, a flip phone, and trying to disconnect with a book and going for a walk, and having a real TV with no internet connection. And
Yeah.
yeah, It's called digital minimalism.
I am a minimalist. I'm very minimalistic, Gael. So that sounds like something I would do. In fact, I was reading a book about Happy Life, Happy Mind by Dr. Chatterjee.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a fantastic book. And one of the key recommendation, or I think it's one of his practices, instead of using his mobile phone in his bedroom, he has like a very old-fashioned landline in his bedroom. Only specific people have access to that phone. When that phone's ring throughout the night, he knows that it's something truly important.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like something that we would need to do. It's actually very sarcastic that we've deployed so much energy, so much effort. We've invested so much money to come up with brilliant technologies. And at the end of the day, we realize
No,
it's probably not,
it.
it may, it's not helping, is it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, people used to say with social network, people are more connected to each other, but yet feel more disconnected
Yeah,
because all you have to do
true.
is watch this person's stories and post, and you think that you are connected to the person, but you never actually reach out to this person with a call or
Yeah.
a real text message.
Especially you can have loads of friends, loads of
Yes.
followers you barely know. And yeah, it can be complicated. So, Gaia, thank you for your insights. I know we are approaching next the end of that conversation, but before I have two more questions for you. The first one is, what would you tell the next generation of underrepresented tech leaders about pursuing their path?
So I will tell them, well, your background is not necessarily a limitation. It could actually be an advantage. I am from a family where we believe a lot in education. That's why I think education can empower people, and that's why I keep sharing my knowledge.
Yeah,
The tech industry itself needs diverse perspective. It needs leaders from who understand different type of communities, different type of challenge, and different way of thinking. Your lived experience can give you insight that no certification can replace.
yeah,
The other thing is that you don't wait until you feel ready, right? Start with whatever you
yeah,
have right now. If you don't have a laptop, use a pen and a pencil. So in tech,
yeah,
no one is really fully ready. Start learning, build small projects,
yeah,
join communities, join my WhatsApp group, go on LinkedIn, create a LinkedIn account.
yeah,
Even if you see a role that you meet
yeah,
60 to 70% of the requirements, still
yeah,
apply. Find mentorship, build relationship. There
yeah,
is huge community like Kozetek, like me, and we have a group where everybody is supporting everyone. So as long as you surround yourself with people that can challenge you
yeah,
and believe in your potential, then you will be successful. The path may not always be easy or similar to the other person that you're
yeah,
friend with, but it's absolutely possible. And this is the one thing that I really love about technology. I think technology is the only field where you can move across the globe and you still be
yeah,
successful. For example, I moved from Haiti to the US, and until the day I'm talking to you, I have 0 degrees from the US. I only have my bachelor degree from
wow,
Haiti. And I'm able to work and make good money because technology is one of the only field that is universal. So the same IP address that's true in Haiti is the same IP address in the US. So that means
yeah,
your skills and knowledge are transferable, and you can start working in the US straight from Haiti if you know your stuff. So studying
yeah,
technology is one of these rare field where
yeah,
you don't have to start over.
yeah. Wow. That is very insightful, Gaia. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that one. And I like the fact you said, don't wait till you're fully ready to start
Mm-hmm.
because no one is ever fully ready.
Right.
Yeah, you also had like your degree from Haiti and you haven't had to start over, which is fantastic because tech, the language is uniform, is the same thing that you would come across, like in Haiti or in the US. The language could be different, but at the end of the day, when it's about coding, it's coding, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned something also about your job, your current job, and your financials. So wasn't that a cybersecurity, like a data privacy? Because you say you're making good money. I just want to make sure they don't target you. Gael, before we close, I'd like to ask you one final question, which is, what do you hope listeners take away, whether they are coders or curious beginners?
So I think I would like to put as my last word, I would like to put an emphasis on how much education is important. And so when I was in high school, I realized that tech education don't only change career, they can change an entire nation. So when I think of a country like Haiti, where most of the population is young people, and we are young, so we can do stuff, we can work. And I used to think of Japan. When you look at Japan,
Yeah.
it's a very powerful example. Japan has very limited natural resources and doesn't have a vast oil reserve or large agricultural advantage compared to other countries. Yet today, it's one of the world leading technology and innovation economy. Why? Because they invested heavily in education, engineering, discipline, and technological development. Companies like Sony or Toyota, they didn't emerge because of natural resources. They emerged because of human capital. And we have this in Haiti.
Yeah.
We have a lot of human resources. So that was a defining realization for me that we need to teach more. If a country without abundant natural resources can become a global tech leader through education
Yeah.
and skill development, then communities with limited economic opportunities can do the same. And technology is one of the few industries where your knowledge can outweigh your geography, like I said earlier. So that's why when I understood teaching IT and digital skills isn't just about helping someone get a job, it's about building intellectual infrastructure. It's about creating economic mobility that isn't tied to a physical resources. So I believe, and this is Kozetek mission, that tech education can transform lives because it gives people something no one can take away, a skill that can scale globally.
Yeah. Wow. This is phenomenal, Gael. I did enjoy our conversation a lot because it was really interesting to start learning more about what has impacted you to join the tech industry, how access to internet can lead to so many other things, especially when it comes to um, cyber threats. And then you move on to sharing your knowledge. You're finishing your degree from a university in Haiti, which I believe is the biggest tech
Yes.
university in Haiti, and then you move to the US, where now you're working as a teacher, it's like you're working with community college. And as I said earlier, and I do mean it, I genuinely believe a teacher is creating intellectual infrastructure, which is true. You not only you sharing your knowledge with those community colleges students, but also you have your own podcast, which is Kozetek. Highly recommended for people to go to. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, and you can also watch the videos on YouTube and gaining knowledge about, tech in Haitian Creole for any of our listeners in Haiti specifically. We also understand that cybersecurity and IT in digital in general can be a very challenging lives. Having a balanced life is not always easy because you're working in a field that requires you to constantly upgrade yourself to keep on top of the innovation and the infrastructures, especially now that AI is becoming more and more prominent in your field. We also talk about how women and men can avoid cyber threats by taking simple measures such as making sure that you use MAF. Is it multiple
MFA
MFA? There you go. Multiple factors
authentication.
authentication. There you go. And also using multiple to strong passwords, locking your laptop to make sure that you can be less targeted by cyber threats. One of the key things that you've mentioned today, Gael, that's really important is about how some of the scammers, they use social engineering to lure people, sharing information with them and then taking advantage of your finances more specifically, because most likely
It's
it's about
yeah.
finances. right? So we do learn that. And more importantly, we do understand, Gael, how you disconnect, how you take a break, even if it means disconnecting from your home to go to a theater and then watch sci-fi. So that's also interesting. Before we close, Gael, any last words for you?
I will say, um, oh, I will talk to the young people, especially those that are in underdeveloped countries and they think that there is no opportunities and they are stuck. I would like to tell them right now we live in a global world, and especially in technology. If you know your stuff, if you sharpen your skills wherever you are in the underdeveloped country, Haiti or another country, you can build a name for yourself and make sure by creating your personal brand on a social media like LinkedIn, you will attract opportunities to you.
Thank you, Gael. And thank you once again for sharing your truth, your wisdom, and what it means to lead with safety and integrity. I am Daphne Pierre, your host, the host of the Embred podcast. And today the conversation was with Gael Beauboeuf, who is a cybersecurity advisor, founder of Kozetek, and also the CEO of Passivra. Thank you once again for your time today. And stay tuned for our next conversation. And until then, continue showing up with intention, courage, and grace. Thank you, everyone, and bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good one. Thank you.